Welcome to today's episode. My name is Ray Huang. I am the head of marketing at Canopy Connect. And we've got a great show today. With me is Jarel Culley. He is the owner of GravityCerts. They build insurance websites that revolutionize the information gathering process, streamline sales, and increase retention. Really excited to have you here, Jarel. What was your journey getting here to what you're doing now?
Thanks for having me on today. Looking forward to talking with you a little bit. It's always nice to see you again, My background is actually in technology, web development, and programming, doing software development. My wife, she's the insurance agent, so she got her start working for farmers and then went independent and bought and sold agencies. And then when we got married, we started our own agency. So we built a lot of the technology that we needed and built Gravity Certs basically out of the need for our own agency to fill in those gaps because we were looking around for different solutions, and that just wasn't out there. Right? There's a lot of things lacking in the insurance space, it seems like.
Sure.
So we had to build that technology to solve the needs for our own agency. So we were writing in Oregon, California, and Hawaii. So with our home base here in Oregon, we were working with commercial clients and personal lines clients, from 3,000 miles away from Oregon over in Hawaii. And then especially too, it's a pretty nice area over there. There's a lot of people buying secondary homes, and they'd be from all over the country, in the mainland, even sometimes in Canada. And then we would have to, we would be talking with the clients, presenting quotes to them, and closing the deals all remotely. So our agency was remote from day one, had remote employees from day one, worked with other VA services as well. Really had to develop the technology and the tools that we have that we'll talk about here because of that need of having that remote team. So, and then just,
Yeah.
helping clients from all over the country.
Nice. Really
So
taking your expertise in websites and development and software and Elizabeth's insurance background and mashing those together. I mean, that's a perfect combination there, right? I mean, it's awesome that you guys are writing in Oregon and then also Hawaii. Sometime last year, I think we were both in Maui around the same time because it was a little bit before
yeah,
the fires and all that in Lahaina, which,
I think so.
I
Yeah.
mean, there's some insurance claims there.
We had, I think it was 22 clients that totally lost their house, everything, lost their house, lost their business. Thankfully, nobody got hurt that we know of, but everybody's, they're working on getting their houses put back together. They're, getting permits or getting checks from
Yeah.
the insurance companies. They're moving forward. They were properly insured. It's devastating, but at least they were happy. They all had the right insurance
Yeah.
coverages. So
Yeah.
we're
I mean,
we're
that's a
happy about that. When the time came and they needed it, that they're getting taken care of, and that's the whole point, right?
yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's good to see that happening.
What are you working on right now that is like exciting in your world?
Yeah. We're working on several additional integrations right now. We've have with some other personal lines raters and commercial lines raters for some niche markets. We have a lot of it built out right now. We're just doing the testing environments right now and testing data back and forth. Hopefully, once all that's dialed in, we're ready to be launching those pretty soon. Hopefully by about this summer, getting those dialed in. We also take a lot of development requests from our agencies too. One of our new ones that we actually just launched just a few weeks ago was a subcontractor submission tool. So, and it just came about by an agency who works with a lot of contractors, and those contractors have a lot of subs. And he just was kind of spitballing the idea with me one day and said, "Hey, can we make some sort of tool to help with our contractors to get those COIs or their deck pages from their subs?" So we created a tool on the agency's website so that general contractor can send a link out to their subs to submit that information to them. And then the nice thing is we have a good integration with NowCerts, and we can actually upload those subcontractor files directly into the account in NowCerts. And then the agency themselves, they could follow up with the subs and start reaching out for them to do their insurance. So nice way for the agency to get free leads. And then for that main contractor, your agency becomes now an essential service, right? Because
Yeah.
you're providing a tool and a resource for for that general contractor to help manage all their day to day, collecting information from the subs. So that was a nice little project that we worked on. Is actually fairly simple to do, and it's been working out really well for our commercial clients that have a lot of contractors, or those or the clients that just need to collect deck pages or something from one of their clients.
All right. Always nice when a customer suggestion turns into like, not a ton of extra work, but like opens up
Mhm.
some new opportunity.
Mhm. Yeah, and it ended up being a nice resource for all of our agencies too, who need that ability. We've been adding it into everybody's website that needs it, and it's been helping everybody out. So nice win-win, having basically, with GravityCerts, having like a software developer kind of in your back pocket that you can shoot ideas off of, and then we can, depending on what you're looking for, we can roll with it and make it happen. So that's one of the things that I actually personally like, is those little challenges of, hey, can we do this? It's, well, let's see. That's what I like to do. So try and
Yeah.
make this happen.
Yeah. So we wanted to talk today about websites. That's your specialty, obviously. And I've seen insurance agency websites. I feel like they should be table stakes, right? Decent design, good functionality, able to do what you need to do to get a quote or get people into your sales funnel. That's usually the main objective there. But also, like, I've seen the reality of a lot of insurance agency websites, and I think there's often a lot of work to be done for some folks. But an agency website should be more than just your brochure. What are some of those things aside from just having that online presence? Like, what else should a website be doing for an insurance agency?
Mhm. I mean, one of the things, first and foremost, it just has to look awesome. I mean, it does matter that it functions and it works well, but when some person lands on your website, if it just doesn't look good, they just blow out of there in a second, right? Or if it takes a minute to load, if it takes more than a couple seconds to load, people are going to leave, right? And every little fraction of a second matters. And then just usability, having it look great on a phone or a tablet, having the website adapt to the device that the person's using. That's a
Mm-hmm.
really big one too. I mean, just there's so many websites out there, and people just expect a site to function, work, and look great. I mean, and that's just your baseline. It just has to look really good to begin with, and then
Yeah.
having all the extra search engine code on the back end to really help Google, and Bing, the search engines, to be able to read the site efficiently and effectively. Just by putting an address on your website doesn't necessarily mean anything to Google. There's little bits of code that can go onto the website that wraps around the address, just for as an example. That way Google knows that this is a street address, and this is a city, this is a state, this is a zip code, this is a phone number. Those little things even help, right?
Right.
Definitely having a Google business page, having that populated as much as you possibly can. You can have, products in there. You can list your insurance products, all your markets that you're targeting. Talk about your homeowners, talk about your general liability, workers' comp, whatever it is that you focus on, and then write content on that. Another big one is just adding blog articles once in a while. There are quite a few different services that actually do that. Some of them are AI generated. You could definitely use that as well as a jumping off point. Then just kind of go in there and tweak it, so it's not just a copy and paste AI generated text, right? It's nice to customize it a little bit for your voice. But the big one is really having Google connected, having analytics connected, and then your Google Search Console connected, so that Google can actually go and index your website. I see a lot of agencies that don't have Google Analytics on their website at all. I can just pull up the code source and search for it, and it's just not on there. They're not going to really get found. So it doesn't really matter how nice your site is if Google can't see it, if they don't know about it. it's not on their radar, you're just not going to get found. You
Yeah.
can always send a link to people, right? If you're talking with clients, you can send them their link. That does help, but Google's not reading it.
Right.
If you're doing any sort of paid ads or social media ads, adding the conversion tracking code onto the website is crucial, definitely for paid ads, because Facebook and Google, they have the ability to track all the way through conversion, and then they know when somebody converts, right? But you have to go into your Google and your Facebook account, and you have to say what that conversion is.
Mm-hmm.
Without doing that, they don't actually know. So then they're just basically just throwing leads out to you, right? Without any real way to quantify what happened, right? Or when that conversion happened. So you're basically just wasting money. So, and then Google and Facebook, they also get better and better as you let these ads go by, and as these conversions are tracking happening, that way they can better target your ideal customer for you. So definitely having that conversion tracking on the website definitely helps, especially
Yeah.
for those paid ads.
Yeah, so you talked about a lot of like different technical things, right? Like
Mhm.
properly tagging your site, doing SEO optimization. Like I think for a lot of the insurance agency owners, they're like, I don't know anything about this. Like I sell insurance. I don't build websites. I don't know what you're talking about, right? Or like I've heard, yes, I need to do SEO, but like I don't know what I actually need to do, or like where do I put these tags? How do I do all this stuff? Is that something within most platforms or maybe specific to GravityCerts that is easy to do kind of on the back end, or is that, do I need to like, go into the matrix and look at all the source code like you do?
That's, I mean, it's definitely website specific. A lot of websites are built on WordPress. That's a huge platform. But it really just depends on your website if you have to jump into code or not, right? There's Square and Wix and all sorts of different platforms, right? There's GoDaddy websites. And it really just depends on the website, really. So I can't really give you an answer on that. But basically having, someone like us, like GravityCerts, help do your website for you, that's where you're going to get the most benefit, obviously, right? You think of an agency and their client, there's a reason why you want your client to go with an independent agent versus going to geico.com or just going to progressive.com and going
Yeah.
direct. And that client, they have no idea about insurance too. And they're just kind of getting in there and they're clicking around and picking coverages, right? For the same reason, your clients use an independent agency like you, that's the same reason why an agency would use someone like us with GravityCerts for your website, right? We do have the expertise on how to do all of that, do the code. We can get in there and do all of that a
Yeah.
lot easier, more effectively than the client just going to the front end and trying to do their insurance quote.
I used to do some website design and development, still do kind of manage some of the Canopy Connect websites, but like things like WordPress, if you kind of go at it alone, right? There's a million plugins and there's a million different options that you can use to configure. And I think one of the benefits of using an insurance agency specific developer like you, or just having someone to go to be like, hey, can you help me set some of this stuff up, takes a lot of that guesswork out. And sure, you can get a domain and you can host it, and you can build something out of a basic template and host it for like $10 a month or whatever. But like if it's just sitting there and you're not doing anything, and if it's not like optimized and tagged and done all that stuff, like you're losing all the value that you actually get out of the website. How many leads are not coming to you and going to the guy down the street? I think that's a big kind of benefit to trusting the expertise of the partner that you're working with is critical.
Yeah, exactly. Being agency owners ourselves, we've been in the trenches and the day
Mm-hmm.
to day with everybody else. So we've been in the carrier websites, and quoting, and had to deal with their quirks, and specific questions that they ask. So that's one of the nice things with working with us, with GravityCerts, is that we understand where you're coming from. We speak the same language. We do the same thing, but we just have that technical knowledge to be able to really take your agency to the next step. And that's really where what we're there for, right? We want to help the independent agency grow. We want the website that they're paying for us to pay for itself, right? We want it to actually make you money at the end of the day, right? We want quotes coming through your website, and we want you presenting those quotes, binding that business, and growing your agency. So that way, your website isn't just a pretty face, a brochure website that's just sitting there, not really doing anything. It's a tool for your agency that's helping
Yep.
you make money. That's the bottom line. All the tools that an agency has, it should be making them money somehow, doing something to benefit their agency. If it's not making money, it should be saving money. It needs to be
Saving
doing
money, saving
something
time.
to,
Yeah.
to help grow the business. If it's not doing anything, then what's the point of having it, right?
Right. So we've been talking about websites and helping it make you money. It makes you money by people requesting quotes, and there's servicing aspects as well. But thinking about that conversion, right? Can you share some strategies that an agency should employ from their website to help get them through the rest of that quoting process, get them through that funnel, and how does that website experience specifically kind of help?
Yeah, sure. So there's a couple different routes you can really do, right? If you're doing paid Google ads, Facebook ads, social media, that's really ideal to have, a simple lead gen form, just a few questions, right? We can get the basic info, and then you can put them into your CRM, and then follow up with campaigns to get them to do a full quote, or have an agent call, or whatever you're going to do. A second option would be, a little bit longer tail forms, or just forms where you're going to get more information from the client. So what we do with GravityCerts, we'll actually put a lot of the main markets that you write right there on the front of the website, above the fold, and you have personal lines, business lines, maybe you focus on restaurants, life insurance, whatever the main focus is for the agency. That way they can click on that link, that button, the image, and then go straight into the quote form. So we do have longer forms that ask quite a bit of the information that you need to start quoting. And we've seen a lot of people don't have a problem with it. We do get some pushback. Some agencies think that people won't submit if there's more than 4 or 5 questions on a form, but really people will, because it's for insurance, and they know if there's, if the vehicle, you got to get vehicle information, you got to get basic house information, primary insured information. You just have to get all that. Nice thing is we do have the integration with you guys with Canopy Connect, so we can use our longer tail forms, but actually pre-fill that with the data from Canopy Connect, which makes it super nice for the client, because
Yeah.
then 90% of that information is right there. It's already pre-filled onto the form. It'll put in all their information, and then they can just kind of fill out whatever's left. I know this morning I had one agency, they asked if we could add how old is their water heater, right? Just a little question about that. So we added that one little question on the form. Because it's a harder market right now, and carriers are changing the questions that they're asking.
Yeah.
Sometimes it requires adding some of those little questions. We don't obviously want to overwhelm the client with 1,000 different questions and every single underwriting question, because that's definitely going to tire out the person and then they're just going to leave, right? So we don't
Yeah.
want to overwhelm them. We want to get what we need from them, and, the basic information, the necessary info, especially using you guys to get all that info from their current policies and then preload that onto the form. That's great. And then just get those other questions that you might need, some of those little ones. And then it makes it easy for the client to just kind of walk through step by step. We'll put it in paged type forms where there's a few questions, and then they hit next, they answer a few more questions, hit next. That's a lot easier too, versus having one form with maybe 30 or 40
Yeah.
questions on
That's
it. It's a
that's
lot nicer
daunting.
to break it up into just a few questions at a time. Ask the primary insured's info, then ask the property info, then ask the co-insured vehicle, etc.
Have you looked into like how to optimize that experience, right? Like I was on one agency's website, they had 45 pages of like next, fill out a few questions next. It was 45 pages.
We haven't gotten that detailed. Some of our commercial lines forms that has multiple lines on
Sure.
there, it definitely has 300 plus questions. But depending on what the client picks, they might only get 20 or 30. right? So
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
commercial lines definitely you're going to have a lot more questions, right? There's just a lot more underwriting. We also just want to think about usability too with the client. I mean, we know, especially with commercial lines, there's a lot of carrier apps where there's 100 different yes no checkboxes, and
Hmm.
it's just thinking and being honest. It's like, yes, you have to get this information, but do you have to put that on a question on a form that's also required, or can it be auto populated, right? Maybe most of the time, maybe 9 times out of 10, the question is no, right? Can we just auto check that to no so they don't
Yeah.
have to pick it? That could be an option too, right? Just to make it easier for the end user, because we
Yeah.
want to get the information, but we also don't want to overwhelm them.
For those of you watching on the video, just kind of showing what that experience is on a GravityCerts built website. Let's take a look at that.
So this would be an example site that GravityCerts has that we just use for demo purposes. So it is clean and modern, mobile friendly, and it has all the SEO built in. We also have about 250 pages worth of content for personal lines and commercial lines too. So really easy
Nice.
to have a nice professional grade website with lots of content already built out. To show an example of one of the forms, we have a short tail form that actually integrates with Canopy Connect. I could show you this one here. This one is integrated with Canopy Connect right here. So really, the client only has to put in just their information, their email, phone number, and their name, which will actually pre-fill from Canopy Connect. If I use the import button here, and this is connected uh, to the demo account.
Hmm.
So if I just go ahead and do that, so it'll go and grab the information from your system through the carriers. It'll take a few seconds to do that, so it's going to go and grab all this information, and then you can see here it just pre-filled in the name and email right here.
Hmm.
So there's a bunch of extra hidden fields inside here, so that has all the other information. So I could just go ahead and submit that right now. And now we have a submitted policy, really easy. We also have some forms too where it'll ask additional information. If it didn't grab the information, say you still needed their date of birth or you still needed their driver's license, we could ask those additional questions if we needed to. But this will get most of everything you need. So if I go to the entries, this is what the entry looks like, just was saved right in here. So if we look at the details of it, we'll see right up here, it actually saved all the information from Canopy Connect right here. All the different addresses here. We can see the insured's details listed here. And then down here, we can start seeing all the actual policies that were pulled. So we've got the umbrella, and we've got the home, and then the property right here, the property coverages. And then the nice new thing that I saw you guys added recently was all that extra property coverage info, which is pretty
Yeah.
awesome. Having all of that data in there is really nice to have. I like that you guys did that. There's the auto information in here, and then we can see the Camaro that was in here with the information for that. Some claims information. I guess it'll pull that as well. So we have an
Yeah.
auto claim and a home claim listed in here, and it even saves the pull ID also.
Yeah.
So this is all the information pulled from Canopy Connect, saved into the entry. And then down here is where we're actually pre-filling the rest of the hidden fields in the form. So we had all these extra fields in here that you didn't see that was automatically pre-populated and saved into the entry. That came in really handy because we have the integration with Agency Zoom and NowCerts, and that will go into NowCerts actually and create that prospect automatically. It'll add the primary insured. It'll put a note in there too. So if I actually go into NowCerts, this is what it would look like. You can see the primary insured's information right up here. We have the primary list in here, that vehicle listed in here, the drivers, the properties listed in here, and then even a note too. We stick a note in there that timestamps when that was submitted.
Yeah.
And then the nice thing, since you guys get documents from carriers, is So we had some other files in here too. This one was pulled today from this pull. So we have the files that you guys pulled directly from the carrier uploaded automatically into NowCert. So it's right there.
Right.
But we wanted to take that extra step and basically be that additional link in the chain so that you guys can go and pull the information from the carrier. And then using the website, we can do the API call to Canopy Connect, pull that information, then send that straight to NowCerts and create the prospect and upload the files. So really in just one button click, all of this information was able to happen there just automatically. And then the
Yeah.
agency, the agent or the CSR, it's ready to quote. They can start going out to the raters, go over the deck pages, review things, whatever you're going to start doing, right? But it's all right there, ready to go.
Amazing.
Very, very easy to get this integrated. And then also we have, I'll show you just an example. This is a longer tail form for personal lines. Again, we have this set up to pre-populate the information from Canopy Connect, but they can go ahead and pick their lines of business, and then it conditionally asks the questions that they need, right? So they're not going to get asked any questions about motorcycle or boats or anything if they don't pick that. So that's also a really important thing to add, is to have all that conditional logic built into your forms so that they don't have to ask more questions than they need to. But depending on what they pick in the form, there might be additional supplemental questions. One example would be, do you have solar panels? Yes or no? So if they hit yes, okay, how many solar panels and what's the value? Another one on home, is it titled in the name, other than your personal names? Yes, okay, then here's a field where they can put in the name of their trust or corporation or whatever. Having those conditional fields built in really helps too, to get the information that you need, but again, not overwhelm the client. So
Right. Yeah, there's a careful balance there, but being able to pre-fill a lot of that when they're using the Canopy Connect method cuts all that down, but they can still kind of go in and verify it. Do you have it set up so they'd have to verify the information still and they see that it pre-filled? Or does it just not, sort of do that progressive profiling where it just doesn't show it if they have it?
this one will, if I use this one, do the same thing. Since I'm logged in, it pre-fills my information that I have in my profile here, but if I give it a minute and do its thing again, it'll go and basically pull it and switch it over to the other. So you can see it just switched it over to the information pulled from Canopy Connect. So now I just put in a date, and then it has the email and the phone already pulled in. But this is where the client can actually see it. So it's pulling in the address right here. If it needs to change, they can do that. They can definitely replace it. So this pulled in automatically the date of birth and driver's license number, driver's license state. It didn't say that I was married or not, so I could pick that, and then add the co-insured's info. I should probably pick that. So, and then it pre-filled some of this other information in here based off of my profile. So now we're kind of doing both in here. So let's pick that. I'll just kind of pick something, do something like that. And then we have, again, the property address listed in here. And so then some of these other fields automatically checked. But it is nice that it can pre-fill it, but then the client can see the information.
Yeah.
Like, say for example, they're actually buying a different home, right? Like a whole different secondary property. They could wipe this out and put something else in there.
Yep.
So, or if they need to add additional vehicles, and I've seen that happen once in a while, where they had, they'll use Canopy Connect to pull all of their current information, their current vehicles, but they also bought a new vehicle that's not on the policy yet. So then we just ask them those additional questions, get the new vehicle information. So then your agency is getting everything that they currently have, plus any new information that they might have. Also comes in handy for, new home purchases too, because then you can round out the account, get all their vehicles, get their umbrella policies and their limits, maybe get a hold of their life policies. But then you're asking them the questions about that new home purchase.
Yeah.
and the information for that, right? Because that's obviously, they're not going to have a deck page for a new home because the policy doesn't exist yet. So then we just ask them that information for that new purchase home. So then we also do have, to help with the sales process, it's built into the website hosted with GravityCerts, is a quote proposal system. This is a way to help present the quotes to clients, really that presentation tool to get them off of price, get them off that bottom line, teach them about coverages. Because as I'm sure most of you guys know, like most people don't have a clue about insurance. They don't know anything. So we have a few examples here, a trucking example, then a commercial lines example with several different lines of business, and then a personal lines example here. So then here we can have the client's information and then their lines of business, some agent information over here. You can put a headshot if you want. And then you can embed a video. If you want to record a Loom video, you could definitely do that. Copy and paste the URL and it'll automatically embed the video. And then down here is where they can actually see that side-by-side comparison of the quotes. And then the nice thing, using you guys with Canopy Connect, you're getting their current deck pages. So you can create a column here for their current policies. That's really nice to do that side-by-side, apples to apples comparison of what they currently have versus what you're proposing. And then they can see their line item coverages. You can attach files in here if you want. Then they can see premiums and different endorsements and coverages. You can add additional notes in here to the client. I've seen some agents in like an additional information text field. They'll put why their auto policy is so high. Like you have a 17-year-old driver with 2 at-fault accidents. That's why it's 10 grand a year for your auto policy, right? So
Yeah.
they can do that. Sometimes commercial lines, they'll put in some notes on, if they need to submit to certain government authorities or, contractors boards, things like that. They'll put information on the clients on how to do that, to be that go-to resource. You're the professional that's really educating and helping the client through the process. Scroll through here and see all of their quotes and everything. And then down at the bottom, they can go ahead and accept them. So it has everything listed as yes, that the agent's recommended. And then the agent will get notified. Then you just do your normal binding procedures. But this is a nice way we found. This does help your SEO quite a bit because you are going to a link on your own website, right? You're not going to a third-party platform, another software service. They're going directly to your site. So you're just, as a side benefit, driving traffic to your site by using it. And especially once we add Google Analytics in here, Google's tracking all of that, So nice, simple way to start driving traffic for free through here, just using the
Yeah.
proposal.
Yeah, that's nice. That's really slick. You do the Loom video, and then you get the side by side
Mm-hmm.
comparisons and all that stuff. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm. We'll see some agencies, they might have 4, maybe 5 quotes depending on the complexity of the client. Usually 2 or 3 is plenty, in here. So just to not overwhelm the client, right? We don't need to give them every single quote option under the sun. We give them the best ones, right? The top 2, top 3, and then maybe have their current policy in here if you can. So nice
Yeah.
way to really help with client education with here. So just helping also close, with your closing ratio. We've had quite a few clients over the years. They give us lots of feedback about this, how they've never seen anything like this. Never stop doing this. This is the best thing they've ever seen. We had one of our clients. He's over in Hawaii, beautiful, ocean front and everything, sitting out on his back lanai with his pool there, and gave us the shaka when showing he was about to watch his quote proposal for his life policy, and just texted that to us. So so it's definitely nice when clients do those sorts of little things. And you can also create templates in here too. This is a little bit older of a demo site, but one of the tabs in here can be templates, and that's where you can actually go and basically create uh, a whole template of a proposal that you would want, especially if you have specific package deals or you work with specific carriers. and you want to have the quote already preset up, right? You can do that and then just duplicate it, um, put in the client's information in there, and then send it out. So
Nice.
another option to just help speed up that process too by having templates in there. They're great for
Yeah.
renewals too, or following up. If for some reason you didn't get the business, you could follow up next year, update your last year's quote, or just duplicate it if you want, and then send it out to the client. So another nice way to kind of keep that historical record too.
Yeah, this is great. I mean, this is so much more than right a website build, which I think gets people in the door, and that's kind of what they're interested in. But like, it does so much more between kind of that added custom form functionality, and then being able to go in and integrate it with a Canopy Connect and now certs and agency Zoom, and being able to send the data where you needed to send it, and then being able to put together these quote proposals and create a little landing page that's specific to them. It's
Hmm.
pretty awesome.
Yeah, definitely a lot more than just a simple website. We
Yeah.
want it to be a tool for your agency to use and help grow your business. All the way from new lead to then managing those clients once they are clients. We have a support center where they can request changes, submit claims to, submit those mortgagee changes, and we have those additional forms too. A client center integrated with Now Certs, where they can actually see their policy information. So as we start expanding some of our AMS integrations for the AMS companies that will allow it, we do want to create these client centers connected with other AMS systems too, for the ones that'll play nice. So I'll
Yeah.
just click on one here, show you what it looks like. It's a way for clients to really easily log in. They can toggle between multiple accounts if they have multiple accounts with you. They can come down here and see their policy information, click on view details, and this will go and pull their information from Now Certs directly, and then show all of the commercial auto, or this auto policy, for example, has the vehicles, some of the coverages in here, drivers listed on the policy, and so forth. So nice way for clients to at a glance come in here and manage their policies and see their coverages without really having to do anything. They don't have to go and create an account on each carrier website. They don't have to download anything. They just open up their phone, go to their browser, type in your
Mhm.
website, create a simple username and password to the site. Then they're automatically logged in, and then they could come in here and view their policies.
And that's
Can
pulling
also
all the
view their
data
documents.
from the AMS itself.
Mhm. Yeah, it all
Okay.
pulls it directly. It pulls those directly, and it's all synced automatically. There's no caching or sync time or anything. You could be on the phone with a client, upload a file, and then they could just click the little button, and it'll go and retrieve that new
Oh,
file.
nice.
It'll be listed right in here for them. And
That's
they can
cool.
upload files too and create folders. So it's a nice document share back and forth, and it's all connected with your AMS. So it's all tracked. Everything's time stamped. Have it all for historical purposes and for your E&O purposes. It's all in your AMS, which is important. But they're able to access it and view it all right here.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then this is the example that I was telling you a little bit ago about that subcontractor submission tool, or they can have their unique link, and then the contractor shares this link with their sub, and then the subcontractor can just submit that form real quick, and then the files automatically get uploaded right here for that contractor, and then they can just log in here and see a list of all of their subcontractor files right in here.
Nice.
Yeah, makes it basically a one-stop shop for agencies to have all of these tools. Design the website to solve 5 6 7 different pain point, all these different solutions, all built into the website without having to pay an arm and a leg for a whole bunch of different solutions that only do one thing. We try to bundle a number of different solutions all through the website.
Yeah. Ton of value. Awesome. Well, hey, thank you for sharing that. How can people find out more about Gravity Certs and your company?
Yeah, just visit gravitycerts.com. There's a big green book a demo right at the top and on the homepage, right there in the menu. And then it has our Calendly right there. You can pick a time on our calendar that works for you. And then we could do actually a one-on-one. answer any specific questions that you might have, or any specific needs, any specific niche markets that you're targeting. We can go over those. Maybe we already have forms for them. We work with quite a few different agencies that focus on different niche markets, that we've worked on building forms for those markets specifically. If we don't have them, we definitely build custom forms too. So really, just book a demo, and then we can have that conversation for getting everything connected for your agency. Getting connected with Canopy Connect is really easy. We just have a few settings in the back end of the website that we configure. We just add those in there, and then the site's ready to go, and it's connected with your guys' platform. So that's ready to go, super easy to do.
Yeah.
We try to make that nice and quick. So anybody that wants to jump on board with you guys, definitely it's really easy to integrate with our platform.
Very good. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. I've got a couple final questions that I want to ask. These are just sort of, we call them hot seat questions. If you weren't in website development with this business, what would Jarel Culley be doing? Like, what other fields would you be would you be working in?
Yeah, I would probably be in real estate.
Gotcha.
I would probably be in real estate investing, which we're starting to dabble in that anyways, getting into real estate investing. But I'd probably be going pretty gung ho with that.
Now, specific to websites, what are some website trends that you're seeing that you particularly love and then particularly hate or dislike?
One right now, it's actually both. It's the dark themed websites, actually. Apple kind of brought that trend out recently, with the doing the dark theme and focusing on that more on the phone. So now they have that more with their website, and we're seeing a lot more websites doing that dark theme, right?
How do you
I
feel about
like
it
the
though?
design myself, but it's people either love it or hate it.
Yeah.
So some agencies like having that dark theme. It's definitely a little more trendy. It's a little more edgy. Uh, Takes a little more thought in the design process, working with dark themed websites versus a light website.
Yeah.
But that's one that's kind of hit and miss for people. But I like it personally. But some people hate it, and others they just, I guess, couldn't care less.
We have this debate among like the Canopy Connect employees. Not debate. Most people are into dark mode everything, and then there's a couple of holdouts that are just anti dark mode. So when they're sharing their screenshots, like, oh, it's so bright. But most of us are all dark mode kinds of people. Awesome. Well, hey, thank you so much for taking a few minutes to talk with us and for everything that you've built. I think you were one of our earlier integrations, and you guys kind of built that on your own because you're using your wizardry of just like, hey, we can connect all this stuff and make it better. So thank you so much for driving a lot of that and kind of being at the forefront of that. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me on today, and good seeing you again. Always nice
So,
talking with you. I'm sure we'll catch up again at one of the next conferences here pretty soon that we're
yeah,
both
yeah,
at.
we're always on the circuit. Cool. Well,
Yeah.
thanks so much, Jarel, and thanks everyone else for listening.